And then Kirsten Hornby. Yeah, these beautiful people working in this industry. Victim identification within the context of OR Tambo interception project. Wow. Okay, please tell us about what you actually do.
All right, it sounds very fancy, but what we do is, me and my team are based in the heart of OR Tambo Airport, and we work alongside immigration and the police. So if you imagine you arrive home from an international flight and you're passing through the immigration counters, our team is before you pass through immigration, so we're inside the airport. And so what we did is, when we first started this work, the only profiles we've had to go on is past cases we've heard of before. We know that Thailand is one of the biggest source countries of victims that get exploited in South Africa. So Thai became our primary focus. And the first victim we ever intercepted was actually recruited through this exact technique that we were speaking about tonight, where this woman thought, she was 32, by the way, so not this young, naive teenager. She was chatting to this guy online, and she believed she was coming in to get married to him. And so when we worked with immigration and actually refused her entry and sent her home, first of all, I thought I'd come in the way of true love, you know. But then 2 weeks later, another Thai girl had arrived to get married to the same man. So obviously what this guy was doing is he was busy running a syndicate where he would go and recruit these girls, romance them over Facebook, bring them here, and then sell them off into the clubs in Gauteng. And later on, we actually mentioned his name to organised crime, and they had an open case on him for doing exactly this. So it is something that we're seeing very often. We had 5 intercepts this week alone, all girls coming in from Thailand.
But you can't just say it's only Thai. So when you say you've got profiles, what are you looking for?
So besides from Thais, the nice thing about working with immigration is they have face-to-face contact with almost every person who comes into South Africa. So they can do a lot of the profiling for us. So we get calls in from immigration officials, from airlines, and then we go and do an assessment. I mean, we've had girls from Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, you name it. Any country where people would fly in, where it's too far to cross a land border, we've seen victims from those nations. So it really is quite a wide variety.
Okay, but here they come, they arrive at the airport, they're still in transit, so they actually haven't been disillusioned, they don't realize they're in a dangerous situation. How do you convince them, I'm sorry, I'm sending you back home, please do as I tell you?
That's a very good question, because it does make our job extremely tricky. Exploitation hasn't happened yet, so it isn't technically a crime of human trafficking. I can't take this to Adina and say, you need to prosecute this because the exploitation hasn't happened. But what we've started to see is these syndicates are very intricately linked. So the same phone number that somebody would phone or give us a reference will come up in 3 or 4 other cases. And because we start to see these patterns emerge, you can say with pretty good certainty that this person is actually coming in for exploitation. Legally, we can't say that that's enough to send a person home. But what we're doing is we're working very closely for immigration, who will look for grounds to send them home on other charges, because normally there's other issues. For example, normally there's a foreign national involved in recruiting this woman. Let's go back to the Thai example. There will be a Thai woman in South Africa who is contacting her childhood friends on Facebook or whatever, saying, oh, my life is so amazing in South Africa. And so when they come in to visit this friend of theirs, that person isn't in the country legally, and so immigration can use that as grounds to deny the person entry. We then do awareness with the girl, say, look, this is what we suspect, and we also do our very best to make sure that there's a receiving organization in their home country that can give them some debriefing and help them reintegrate back home.
We need to have an interview. I want all the details. I've got more questions for you, but there's no time. Thank you. Vilna Badi. Vilna has got a safe house in Hatfield?
In Arcadia.
In Arcadia. A safe house in Arcadia. And already I'm speaking in capital letters to you, because I know this is no fun to start out something like that. So I'm wondering, if a victim comes and walks into the safe house, or you go on the road and you're looking for someone that you can see is a victim, and they're entering into this process of what a safe house is, what challenges are you now facing with this lady, raw, from the street? Okay. Take me through that.
I would like to start with just qualifying that I don't really have a safe house per se. I think there are different segments of victims, and Kirsten and them are working with people coming from overseas. I'm really working with girls who are trafficked by pimps in the streets of Arcadia. So they're quite different types of victims. From my experience working with girls, anybody that lands in a safe house is, to start with, extremely vulnerable. They're petrified because a safe house is not exactly what they need. Just the very term safe house suggests that a victim's primary need is to be safe, but I do believe that if that was true, they wouldn't run away. And we constantly hear that victims run away. So in my humble opinion, I would like to suggest that maybe their primary need is freedom and love and belonging. So a girl landing in a safe house is completely fragile. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't know the people there. And I think if we could understand that to begin with, we will change our approach from a safe house point of view. Because what they really need is family. They want to belong. They need to know you're okay.
The next question to me is interesting, knowing exactly how you do this. You don't send them home. But in normal life, if a victim goes back home, how do the family welcome them back? I mean, they're traumatized, they're broken, they're hurt. I'm sure families don't even know what to do with these young girls that go back home. And can they be integrated back into normal life?
Oh, once again, in the South African context, we really have a challenge, specifically in the African communities. Once they find out that a girl was a prostitute, regardless of how she got into it, it is a very shameful situation. I have spoken to many mothers, grannies, aunts, uncles, family representatives, and I've really tried to paint the picture to them. I've begged them. I've asked them to come and visit me. They're simply not interested. So the way I see it right now, I almost believe that it is not really all that possible, especially for the girls who are trapped in prostitution in the streets. I think we have to change our approach and see it more as a long-term recovery process rather than a quick fix. And we've saved you now, little girl. You're going to go home, you're going to get a real job. It doesn't work like that. Real jobs are most of the time just a trap for them to realize how dysfunctional they really are, and then they just run back to where they felt they really belonged. Because even though they were tortured and even though they were subjected to all the atrocities that we know of, that pimp programmed them that he was caring for them. He was provider and abuser. He was father, boyfriend, and rapist. And somehow in that chaotic, crazy, dysfunctional situation, she learned to try ways of pleasing him so that he would be nice. A girl like that, unless she's completely healed, can never function in the real world. And I really went before God and I asked him, how can we help these girls? Because every girl that I took to a rehab ran back to the pimp.
Where she felt she belonged.
The same one who abused her and who beated her up. I had a girl that was strangled and had a stroke. She ran back to her pimp. And I felt as I prayed that the Lord was saying to me, I am a God of families. And really, isn't he the God that is a family God? He's got father and mother and children. And I really learned from the Lord that that's what each one of us need. We need family. We need to belong. And that's what I then felt the Lord was saying to me. Take these girls and put them through a complete life cycle of a human being, where they're the fetus to start with, which means they're hidden, they're protected. Then they're a baby. Once you're a baby, the good aunt can take you for an hour or two. So you sort of wean that dependency. Then you're a toddler. Now you can stay at school. And you just go on to child, teenager, until they're adults. And this is really a long process. Sure. I had, I've got 5 girls from the street living with me. I actually take them into my home as my own daughters. And I live with them. I don't live outside. I live with them. They live in my home. We together. And a while ago, I sent them out with my house manager to have their hair done. And they came back traumatized. And I was so shocked because I thought, wow, how amazing. I'm giving them money. I'm trusting them. Go and have your hair done. And their stories were, we felt exposed. We felt that you just threw us away. We couldn't handle the streets. It was too much. I don't want to go out. So a week later, I had a visitor from Cape Town, and she said to me, let's take them out to a movie. We've got Ben-Hur showing, and there was some other doggy animation movie. And we were so excited, and they just said, no, don't want to go. Because they're not ready. They look really normal, and they look well adjusted. But it's a very, very long process, and we need to understand that.
Thank you for your commitment to those girls. We appreciate it, and I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Diane Wilkinson is from Networking and Partnership. Oh, let's talk networking and partnership, NFN. What does the word networking, I love that word, it's a godly word, I can tell you now, mean in the context of the National Freedom Network?
Okay, well, I've got the verb and the noun. But what you said earlier, right at the beginning of the evening when you're talking about unity, that's essentially what the NFN is all about, and the networking is to bring that sense of unity to the counter-trafficking field as well. But really, a network is a group of people and organizations in different places who are working together, and that's exactly what the National Freedom Network is. We're a group of people and organizations across the country who are working together against human trafficking specifically. And then if you think about what it means to network, it's basically to connect and interact. I do have a cheat sheet, sorry. My brain is, otherwise we'll be on tangents. But it's basically, exchanging information, sharing what we have with each other, sharing our resources, sharing our best practices, sharing information, and just developing those professional contacts and really strengthening the work that we all do.
A gathering like this is very important. We're getting together, we're going to partner. I see we've got the NPA in government as well. So what's the plan? How are we going to partner going ahead?
I think one of the easiest ways to do that is just start by communicating and building those relationships. I have seen amazing, amazing things come out of relationship. So it's just, start by building and maintaining those relationships of trust. We need to trust one another if we're going to be working together, especially on something like human trafficking, organized crime. So it's understanding each other's roles and mandates, where do we each fit in, knowing what each other's strengths are. I'm good at this, but you're good at that. How can we work together where we are highlighting each other's strengths to the benefit of everybody? And just supporting one another's initiatives, really. So let's not be each doing our own thing. Let's come alongside one another and take hands and move forward together in one direction.
Is the National Freedom Network, do you have like a database, or how do we know what everyone is doing around the table? If I look here, I don't know. I don't know. Is this something that you guys do, that you spread whatever everyone's doing, keeping people informed?
Yeah. We send out a fortnightly newsletter where we just try to keep everybody up to date with things that are happening on the ground. Between Marina and myself, we are constantly connecting. So if I know that 2 or 3 or more people are doing the same or similar work, we link them up with each other. And then it's really up to you to carry those conversations on. We can't force them, but we simply do the connecting and the linking up, and then hopefully fruit flows from that.
Yeah. What happens in many Christian ministries is because a lot of it is repeated, we do the same things, we sort of compete against each other for the same sponsors, for the same areas that we work in. How can we work together? I mean, why? Why would we work together when actually I need the same money you do?
I know, I hate money.
Amen, sister.
It causes so much problems. But you're absolutely right. But, you know, with something like human trafficking, it's such a complex phenomenon. And there's really no one organization or one department that can do absolutely everything that is needed to counter something like this. So we really have to be working together to have any kind of impact on something like human trafficking. You know, and if we're working together, basically we're avoiding duplication, which in turn is avoiding wasting resources. We are strengthening the collective voice, you know, so having 10 different people saying the same thing individually is not as strong as 10 of you coming together and saying it with one voice, you know, so that impact can be really huge. It also allows us to focus on, again, what we're good at. So I'm not trying to do 5 different roles and I'm stretching myself thin and about to have a mental breakdown because of it. I'm free up to focus on what I'm good at and what my strength is in the process, because I know that you're doing your job and you're doing your job and you're doing your job. And again, if we've got those trust relationships going on, you know, it's just that safety net of kind of environment that we're working in, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Trust takes time, huh?
It does.
And it takes
It
a
does.
kaya
Time and
and a
effort.
braai,
Yes.
ice skating, whatever it takes. We get to know one another. Okay, we've got a question for you again, Diane. Sammy Prinsley says, what has been done in the city so far? Okay, summary. Let's take Tshwane, and with what's going on here, if you had to summarize what you know network-wise, has a few achievements, maybe something that's worked so far, what would you say?
Geez, no pressure, Sammy.
No.
I'm from Joburg, just disclaimer.
Okay, go for Joburg. I can work with Joburg too.
Okay, if we're going to focus, so you've just heard about the airport project that's happening in Joburg. That's been absolutely phenomenal, and I think is an innovative new way to approach the work. We're not being reactive, we're being proactive, and I think that's fabulous. We have the task team, so that's provincial, the Gauteng task team. We have a multidisciplinary team forming on the ground in Joburg. That's Annelies, I don't know if she's still here. But Annelies is kind of, I think, spearheading, and I know Ladies Arise are part of it, Salvation Army is part of it, Vilna's part of that. And we're really seeing this, what I've just been speaking about, this team coming together where they've each got different strengths. Wendy is part of that. And they're coming together and each playing their own role. And we're seeing amazing results on the ground because of that. I don't know if that answers the question.
Hey, it sounds impressive already. Thank you very much. Yeah. I want to honor you guys for being the hands and feet of Jesus, because Christians, many times we blah, blah, talk a lot. And somehow we know there's a problem, but it's just too overwhelming, then we just do nothing. But if there are people who actually do something, and if we know about it, we can latch onto what you guys are doing and support you in any way possible. So from my side, I just want to say, media, yay, we'll support you. We'll spread the news of the good that is happening and give people hope, because if there are some victories, then people have more confidence to get in and work with you than if it sounds like it's just too overwhelming and we're going to leave it. So thank you for all of your hard work. Truly do appreciate it. Thank you for making a movie and giving it in our hands that we can use it and get it out there. And in advance, thank you guys for everything that you're going to do, getting in there and making a difference, and for sponsors and for everyone that has a heart for that. I bet you each one of the 45 million say thank you, because somebody cared. Right. Okay. And now I give over.
I just want to say thank you so much for this incredible evening. I'm actually quite overwhelmed and a little bit kind of emotional. But I just want to say a thank you, and I've got something small for the panelists and our MC. And I really just pray that this will be a tool that will reach many, many teenagers. I really have a heart for it to reach possibly, my dream is that it'll go into every school in South Africa for the grade 10 life orientation classes, and that we'll see teachers and parents being enlightened so that they actually at home, when they do spend time with their children, actually observe some of these things. We're just giving them an idea of what's happening. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of other avenues that young girls can be recruited as well. So I've just got something small for the few of you.
I think the most important being in the universe needs to be thanked right now before we go our separate ways. Let's close our eyes. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you so much for dying on the cross and paying for every single person, every precious being that is being trafficked all across the world for whatever reason. That you know how many hairs they have on their head, and that you see each and every one of them. And Lord, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ that they will be freed, and that you will move what needs to be moved and show whoever needs to see, and give authority to the right people and opportunity and open doors that should be shut, but that you would open them, because he who the Son sets free is free indeed. You're the only one that can tackle, handle, and have victory over something as big as this. And we believe in you. We believe you've got the power, you've got the heart, and you did everything necessary. But also, Lord, I want to pray for the people in the field doing the work, being your hands and feet. And I want to ask you to empower them, to anoint them, give them a favor, Lord, in every single structure where it's needed, that those doors be opened, to give them the wisdom and the exact right words to reach the ears of the right people, Lord, so that they can get through, doesn't matter what Satan puts in their way, to keep these people in bondage, that you will open those doors. And in the name of Jesus, I pray that your will be done, and that your kingdom will come, and that your name will be hallowed, and that people will turn to you, and you will draw people unto you with bonds of love, and that each and every, doesn't matter how hard their hearts have become, each and every one of these victims, Lord, that you will remove that heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh, so that they will be able to love with the love of Jesus, because you've shown them exactly what you can do and what you want to do in the hearts of other people. We praise you for the work that you're doing. We want to honor you for what you've achieved so far. And we want to glorify and celebrate so long every single place and plan you put into place and activate, coming to your glory. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Righty, people. It's late. Go home.